Hey everyone, it's Aussie Dad and welcome to the STWAD Gaming channel. Today we're going to do a video of Resort Tycoon 2. If you haven't played it, go check it out. It's pretty fun. It's where you get to obviously create a resort. You can unlock a golf cart to drive around in and a boat. You can visit other people's islands. This is me beginning this. I have played this game before, just not on this account, so I'm unlocking everything at the moment. Obviously, when you walk over a red button or a green button that has a price tag over the top, all of a sudden it will create that item for you, which is super cool. So you can do things like build walls. What's the other things you can build? A pool, which is, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Lots of trees, lighting, furniture. Eventually you get a basement area and that's your gaming part. So you can interact with, I think it is skee ball and a different type of game too. I can't remember exactly which ones are available now. I think there might be archery or axe throwing or something like that. But get into it, play it, and you'll find out for yourself. So obviously, at the moment, I'm running around just unlocking different things. So that will be the main course of this game. And also just to give people an idea of what it looks like. So, what it looks like. Yeah, I can speak English. Yahoo! So go check it out. Resort Tycoon 2. It's lots of fun. You can do things. I'm pretty sure some of the islands have activities that you can do as well. There might be an obby on one of the islands. And it can give you like coins or you collect something. I'm not 100% sure. That's why you're just going to have to play it, find out. So today we're also going to go into part 4 of Diary of a Wimpy Kid Hard Luck. So if you're here for the story portion, you're in luck. Wow, what a coincidence. Hard luck, you're in luck. Yeah, I know, dad joke, sorry. So we'll move on. So let's get into that portion of the thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Now's the time for the story portion of this video, and we're continuing reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid Hard Luck. And this will be part 4, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so Wednesday. Since I'm not hanging out with Rowley after school anymore, I've got a lot more time on my hands. But the thing I've learned is that you should never tell your mum you've got nothing to do. And there's a little cartoon thing. I'm bored. Good, you can help me clean the oven. Yeah, it's probably not a smart move. Anyway, so I've been going outside after school just to avoid doing chores at home. Mum's been telling me I should branch out and try to find new friends in the neighbourhood, but where I live, the pickings are pretty slim. A few houses down are the Lasky boys, but their idea of a good time is stripping down to their underwear and wrestling in the front yard. Diagonally across the street is a kid named Mitchell Flemmer, who I think is a year or two younger than me. But I don't even know what he looks like because I've never seen him without a motorcycle helmet on. A few houses down on the right, you've got Eric Holbert, who was suspended 3 weeks ago for breaking in and vandalising the school. He tried to deny it was him, but it was pretty pointless. Mainly because he wrote his name on the graffiti, so it's pretty easy to tell. Anyway, then there's Fregley, who lives a few houses up from me. If there's anything good that's come out of my situation in the past few weeks, it's that I haven't had to walk by Fregley's house on my way up to see Rowley. Unfortunately, Mum's always trying to set up a play date between me and Fregley. She says she feels bad for him because he seems like a lonely boy. I really wish Mum wouldn't say things like that because then it makes me feel all guilty. And trust me, I already feel bad enough seeing Fregley out in the playground every day. But today I had a really crazy thought. I realised that if I became friends with Fregley, I could mould him into exactly the type of friend I wanted. I could basically take all the things I like about Rowley and teach Fregley how to do them. Plus, Fregley could bring something extra to the table. I've noticed that at my school, the most popular guys have a funny sidekick. One of the boys in Bryce Anderson's entourage is Jeffrey Laffley, and I guarantee you the only reason Bryce keeps Jeffrey around is for some comic relief. And girls never go for the funny sidekick, so Fregley wouldn't even be a threat to me. I'll just need to make sure people think Fregley is acting funny on purpose, because with him, you can never really tell. Today at lunch, I went to find Fregley and invite him to sit at our table. He was so far back in the line to get a seat that he was out in the hallway near the boys' bathroom. Luckily, Fregley is pretty skinny, so we were able to squeeze him in. The first thing I did was tell him how things work, starting with the 5-second rule. I was right in the middle of telling him how you can claim a piece of food that doesn't belong to you when Fregley went for the potato chip in my hand with no warning. I was pretty mad, and I told Fregley that if he was going to pull that kind of nonsense, he could go back to his spot on the floor in the hallway. I explained that somebody had to actually drop something before it could be claimed. He seemed to get it and sort of tried to apologize, so I guess you'd have to call that progress. While Fregley was eating lunch, I snuck a peek at his notebook to see how good his cursive was, but when I saw what was on the first page, I wished I hadn't. After school, I asked Fregley if he wanted to walk home with me. I explained how I needed him to scout ahead for dog poop and how he'll have to pull my roller bag from time to time. Fregley seemed eager to help out, and things started off pretty smoothly. But I wasn't paying attention, and I forgot to cross the street when we got near the Mingo Kids' woods. So the next thing we knew, we had the whole pack of them chasing after us. We finally lost them when we got to the bottom of our street, but when Fregley gave my bag back, it was practically empty. I asked Fregley what happened to all my books, and he said he threw them out when the Mingo Kids were chasing us. I asked him why he'd gone and done that, and he said he was hoping they'd stop and read them. So day one was a little bit of a disaster, but Fregley's going to be a long-term project, and I'd better prepare myself for some bumps along the way. Thursday. This morning, me and Fregley were supposed to walk to school together, but at 8:30 he still hadn't shown up at my house, so I went over to his place and knocked on the front door. Nobody answered, and I was about to just head to school by myself when I heard some noises inside, like a bowling ball falling down the stairs. Then the front door opened, and Fregley was standing there. Fregley told me that when he was getting dressed, he accidentally put his shirt on upside down and got stuck. That meant it was up to me to untangle him. At first, I was a little irritated, but then I realized this was just the kind of thing other people might find funny. So at lunch, I brought Fregley over to one of the girls' tables and had him do the thing with his shirt again. Unfortunately, we must have picked the wrong table, because not one of the girls even let out a chuckle. I asked Fregley if he knew any jokes, but he said he didn't. Then I asked him if he knew how to do any tricks, and he pulled out a piece of bubble gum. Fregley took off his shirt and put the gum in his belly button. I didn't know where this was going, so I took a few steps back, and then, no lie, he started chewing it. I don't know if any of the girls were impressed, but I definitely was. Then Fregley said he was going to blow a bubble, which was something I had to see. But I should have known it's not physically possible to blow a bubble with your belly button. Word about Fregley's talent got around the cafeteria quick, and for the rest of the lunch period, almost every boy in our class was at our table wanting to see what else Fregley could chew. In fact, it got so crowded, there wasn't even a place for me to sit. So, while Fregley was enjoying his moment in the spotlight, I was eating my lunch out in the hallway. This just goes to show that no matter how nice you are to some people, they'll turn their back on you the second they get the chance. Friday. With everything that's going on at school, I've really been looking forward to spring break. I figure having a week to myself will be exactly what the doctor ordered. But tonight my plan was a stress-free week went But tonight my plan for a stress-free week went out the window when Dad asked Mum what we're doing for Easter this year. She said her family is coming to town. I was totally blindsided by that news, and I could tell Dad felt the exact same way. Mum never tells us when her family is coming to visit because she knows if she gives us too much advance warning, we'll make a run for it. Most of the relatives on Mum's side of the family live pretty far away, so we don't see them that often. I'm okay with that because whenever we do see them, I need plenty of time to recover. I'm sure most families have their issues, but it seems like when it comes to Mum's side, there's just a lot of extra drama. Mum has 4 sisters, and they're so different from one another that it's kind of amazing they grew up under the same roof. There's Aunt Gretchen, Aunt Audra, Aunt Veronica, and Aunt Keiki. Mum's oldest sister is Aunt Keiki, who isn't married and doesn't have any children. And that's probably a good thing, because it's pretty obvious she doesn't like kids. One time when I was little, Aunt Keiki came to stay with us, and Mum went out for a few hours and left me behind with her. But I don't think Aunt Keiki had ever been alone with a kid before, and she seemed on edge the whole time. I guess she thought I was going to break something, so the first thing she did was put everything that was fragile out of reach. Then she just stood there and watched me to make sure I didn't touch anything. After about an hour, Aunt Keiki said it was time for me to take a nap. I tried to tell her I didn't really take naps anymore, but she said it's rude to talk back to another. Aunt Keiki said she'd be downstairs in her laundry room ironing and she'd come wake me up in a few hours. Then she turned out the light, but just before she shut the door, she said, "Whatever you do, don't go downstairs and touch the iron." The idea of touching the iron never would have entered my mind, but once Aunt Keiki put it in my head, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So a half hour later, I snuck downstairs like I was on some kind of stealth mission. Aunt Keiki was in the family room watching television, and I had to go past her to get into the laundry room. Once I was in, I pulled out the little stool Mum used to reach high places and pressed my whole hand on the iron. Don't ask me what I was thinking. I ended up with a 2nd-degree burn, and Mum's never trusted Aunt Keiki to babysit again, which I'm sure is just fine with her. Mum's youngest sister is Aunt Gretchen, and she's the complete opposite of Aunt Keiki. Aunt Gretchen has twin boys named Melvin and Malcolm, who are totally wild. In fact, they're so out of control, Aunt Gretchen used to keep them on child leashes. One time, when Aunt Gretchen and her kids visited, they brought their pets with them, so it was like a zoo in our house. Aunt Gretchen took off for a few days to go sightseeing, and we had to take care of her kids and her animals. It got totally out of hand when her rabbit gave birth to a litter of bunnies 2 days before she got back. Dad wasn't too happy about the situation because Aunt Gretchen had told us her rabbit was a boy. I can deal with Aunt Gretchen's pets, but her sons are a whole other matter. On that same visit, Melvin and Malcolm played a game of catch in our driveway with a rock or a piece of concrete or something. I admit I've done some dumb things in my life, but I don't think I've ever done anything as stupid as that. Before you knew it, Mum had taken Melvin to the emergency room to get stitches in his forehead, and we were responsible for Malcolm. While Mum was gone, Malcolm somehow managed to get a hold of Dad's shaving kit, and by the time we found him, there was nothing anybody could do about it. Dad said if Aunt Gretchen and her boys are staying with us this time around, he's going to get a hotel room for himself. But Mum said we're family, and family should be together. I'll tell you one person who won't be coming to Easter though, and that's Aunt Veronica. She hasn't been to a family event in something like 5 years, or at least not in person. I think being with the family stresses her out, so whenever there's a big gathering, she makes her appearance by video conference. In fact, I don't think I've seen her in the flesh since I was 3 or 4. One summer, we all got together for an outdoor wedding. The ceremony lasted something like 2 hours and it was really hot, and I could tell Aunt Veronica was playing video games on her computer the whole time. The only aunt I haven't talked about yet is Aunt Audra. She's one of those people who believe in crystal balls and horoscopes and all that, and she doesn't do anything without talking to her psychic. I know this firsthand because I stayed with her for 2 weeks a few summers back. When Mum found out Aunt Audra took me along to her psychic appointments, she wasn't happy. Mum said all that fortune-telling stuff was just a bunch of hocus-pocus, and that Aunt Audra was wasting her money. But I had a feeling Mum would say something like that. I don't know what kind of training you need to become a psychic, but if there's not too much work involved, then I could totally see that as a career path for myself. I'm kind of surprised Mum feels that way about fortune telling and all that, because she's the one who's always saying Grandma has ESP. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, then Grandma's not using her powers to their full potential. To be honest with you, I don't know how much I believe in that type of stuff myself. All I can say is that none of it has helped me any. When I was 8, we went on a family trip and I stopped at a store that sold all sorts of souvenirs and trinkets. Dad gave me $3 to spend, and I used it all to buy a rabbit's foot, which was supposed to bring me good luck. But on that trip, I got food poisoning and sprained my ankle. So I got rid of the rabbit's foot the first chance I got. It's just as well because I was uncomfortable carrying that thing around anyway. I realised that if I ended up winning the lottery or something because of my rabbit's foot, I wouldn't really be able to enjoy it. Whenever Dad leaves the newspaper out on the kitchen table, I always read my horoscope, but there's never any information in it I can actually use. Sat in the lines of Jupiter, beware, a stranger who carries ill tidings. Meanwhile, a person you once carried a flame for now admires you from afar. Anyway, and fortune cookies are fortune cookies are even more worthless. We used to go to the Chinese restaurant in the center of town on Christmas Eve, and I was always excited to open my cookie to see what the future held for me. And here's the fortune I got the last time I was there. You will buy some new pants. I mean, whoever wrote that one wasn't even trying. See, what I need is something that actually tells me what to do. So I don't have to guess. Up to this point, I've been making all my own decisions, and I'm not super happy with the results. Anyways, with all those tongue twisters that I've come out with during this story, that is the end of a part 4. So, listen out for more videos. Have an amazing week, everyone, and look after yourselves. But until then, bye for now.